This morning, a Minneapolis police officer killed in the line of duty is set to be laid to rest in his hometown of New Haven.
Officer Jamal Mitchell was killed in an ambush last month while responding to a shooting call. We've got live team coverage this morning with Lindsay Kane and Brooke Griffin, both live in New Haven. We'll begin with Brooke. She is live at the funeral home where a procession will get underway in just a couple of hours.
Absolutely. Actually, just moments ago, the Minneapolis Police Department police chief showed up here at the funeral home with a few other Minneapolis officers in the car with him as well. They already did have one funeral service in Minneapolis, so this will be the second one. This is where he'll actually be laid to rest. But of course, those officers were going to make that 20-hour drive to make sure that they came down here to honor their co-worker, their friend, whatever title that Jamal Mitchell was to them. They said that he was a hero. He was even awarded the department's Medal of Honor and Purple Heart posthumously for his bravery. This all started on May 30th, though. That's when investigators say Mitchell was the first to respond to a shooting call. That's when he arrived, and he was the first one to arrive, and Mitchell asked the apparent shooting victim if he was okay. But then that man pulled out a gun and fatally shot Mitchell. That suspect was shot and killed by police shortly after. Officer Mitchell is originally from Connecticut, here in New Haven, but applied to be an officer specifically in Minneapolis. The chief saying they've had a hard time recruiting officers since George Floyd was killed in 2020. But Mitchell was willing and ready to take on the job right there in their city. At the Minnesota service, the chief said that he exemplified who they want in an officer and in a person. His longtime life partner spoke as well, saying Mitchell loved their kids more than anything and will be very missed by everyone that he came in contact with. Now, this procession is set to start at 8:15. They're going to go from here at the funeral home all the way just a little bit down the road from here over to the Hill House School. That funeral is going to be at 11 o'clock this morning. There are private calling hours beforehand, and then of course that funeral itself is private. We'll have a camera inside though, and Lindsay has more details on all of that as well. Back to you.
All right, Brooke, thank you.
And as we said, Officer Mitchell lived in Minneapolis. Last week, friends and family and colleagues had a memorial service there before his body was transported back to Connecticut.
Now, as Brooke said, his funeral this morning will be at Hill House High School in New Haven. That's where Fox 61's Lindsay Kane is. Lindsay, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Well, we actually just saw about a dozen police cruisers from Minneapolis arriving here to Hill House this morning. Now, we're expecting a big showing of support from the law enforcement community, from New Haven police officers, state police officers, and officers around Connecticut, honoring the life of Officer Jamal Mitchell, who's being remembered as a hero. Now, that procession will head from Dixwell Avenue to Webster Street, then Goff Street and Crescent Street. Officer Mitchell will be taken here to Hill House High School, where he used to be a student, for the funeral service. This comes after a procession in Minneapolis last week. Members of his police department and officers around Minnesota traveled to the airport, bringing Officer Mitchell's body to be flown here to Connecticut. Officers say it was a very somber ceremony. People were seen on sidewalks with their hand over their hearts, some holding American flags. Officer Mitchell arrived at Bradley International Airport on Wednesday. Police lined the tarmac and saluted, awaiting the arrival of that plane. Mitchell was killed in an ambush on May 30th. He leaves behind his long-term partner and several children. Again, he was born and raised right here in New Haven. Now, that procession is expected to begin around 8:15 this morning. Calling hours are beginning at 9 o'clock, with the funeral scheduled to begin at 11 o'clock this morning. Live in New Haven, Lindsay Kane, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Lindsay, thanks so much. And Connecticut's news station is going to be covering the services for you all morning long. Our morning team is going to be down in New Haven for the procession and for the public funeral starting at 11 a.m. And you can watch the services on our website at fox61.com. We'll also be streaming it live for you on our free Fox 61 News app and on Fox 61 Plus. And of course, our coverage will continue this evening as the state honors the life and legacy of Officer Jamal Mitchell.